WOSQ Spencer Marshfield, and WOSQFM.com. This evening, we present our high school football coaches program from Nuts Deep 2 in Marshfield as we visit with area high school football coaches about the 2025 high school season. That's up next on Sports Radio 92.3 FM, WOSQ, and WOSQFM.com.
Taqueria Monarca is now open at the Marshfield Mall. Experience the bold and fresh flavors of Mexico in Marshfield at Taqueria Monarca. Delicious tacos, burritos, quesadillas, bowls, and drinks. Kick things up a notch with the fresh salsa bar. Taqueria Monarca is fast, casual, and delicious.
We are ready to serve you the bold, fresh flavors from Mexico. Welcome to Taqueria Monarca.
OSQ on WOSQFM.com and also on ZaleskiSports.com. I'm Gene Delisio along with Larry Hazer and Delia Kaitis and Jason Zaleski and Mike Steinwagner, a long list of Hall of Fame broadcasters with us today to discuss the high school football season in central Wisconsin. Let's bring in Larry Hazer for some thoughts. Larry, looking forward to another great high school football season here in central Wisconsin.
Hard to believe it's already coming up.
Yeah.
Another season of high school football. Kind of excited for some of the teams around the area. I know Neillsville Granton, a team that I cover a lot. Looking forward to seeing how they progress this season after last season. I guess if you're Neillsville Granton, you can't get much worse than what they had last year. So I'm looking forward to that.
And Marshfield Tigers looking forward to a season with Coach Denny Goettl and his staff in place once again this year. Some new faces in that program as also. And Delia Kaitis has joined us as well. Dale, good to have you with us here tonight. Good to see you and looking forward to another Tiger football season.
Thanks. I just took the dog sled in, got here in time, and so here we are, ready to go. Can't believe it, football time, but I'm always ready for football.
I see you got your ankles taped already.
I certainly do.
You're all in good shape. Well, it should be a lot of fun tonight as we talk football with a number of coaches from around our area about the 2025 high school football season here in central Wisconsin. Marshfield Tiger football coach Denny Goettl standing by throughout the evening. We'll also speak with Jay Anderson from Auburndale, Logan Rosemeyer from Colby, Jason Gorst from Spencer Columbus, Jake Knapmiller from Abbotsford, the new Stratford football coach Marshall Lehman, and Chris Lindner from the loyal Greenwood football program. All that and more coming up next on our high school football coaches program on WOSQ and also on ZaleskiSports.com.
High school sports coverage is brought to you by Forward Bank, depositor-owned community bank, serving Clark, Taylor, Price, Wood, and Marathon counties. Member FDIC. Visit forward.bank. Hefco Floral in the former City Hall Plaza, Marshfield. They have been your florist since 1912. Discover the power of the flower. And I-State Truck Center, 1505 South Central Avenue, Marshfield. The one place for all things heavy truck. They know what drives you.
Looking to elevate your space? Rice's More Than Floors in Marshfield offers premium Hunter Douglas window treatments, Benjamin Moore paint, and stunning floor options for your home and business. With our unbeatable material and labor warranties, you'll have peace of mind knowing you made the right choice. Visit ricesmorethanfloors.com to set your appointment or visit our 13,000 square foot facility near Flea Farm in Marshfield. Rice's More Than Floors, where your dream space becomes a reality.
High school sports coverage is brought to you by Culver's, North Central Avenue, Marshfield, a family favorite restaurant known for made fresh butter burgers, frozen custard, and Wisconsin cheese curds. Smith Brothers Meats, Colby, offering a large selection of fresh meats and cheese, plus catering services for any occasion and any reason. Highway 13 South, Colby. And Partners Bank, 907 North Central Avenue, Marshfield, a community bank with a variety of loan products to fit your needs. Member FDIC, equal housing lender.
When you want a dealer who has it all, you want Courtesy Auto and Truck Center in Stanley. We offer a wide selection of new Fords and pre-owned vehicles at payments to fit any budget. Plus, our finance experts specialize in getting you the best loan possible. In addition, our highly trained service technicians work with state-of-the-art equipment to make sure your vehicle is fixed right. We pride ourselves.
Is your business, church, or organization getting a fair deal on your copier contracts? Do you even know how much you're spending? Bauer & Fine Business Technologies has been in the office technology industry for 70 years. We have an award-winning service department
for our high school football coaches program this evening. And our first guest is Marshfield Tiger football coach Denny Goettl joining us on our program this evening. The Marshfield Tigers having good success under Coach Goettl once again last year, making it to postseason play, winning 4 ball games last year. They'd like to improve on that total, but hoping for even better things in 2025. Coach, thanks for joining us, and welcome to our program this evening.
Thank you, guys. It's a blessing to be back here. How's that?
Oh, that sounds good. And let's talk about the early start of your season. First of all, your scrimmage this weekend and how that went for you.
Well, the scrimmages, well, I guess they're basically turning to be all the same. Every year we're trying to put a lot of people in different places, maybe trying to see if they can or if they can't. And that was no different this year than it was any other years. Had some good, some bad, some happy, some sad at the end of it. I mean, it's the way it is. It's a scrimmage, and we're not trying to win the thing. I guess I want to go and try to make the team motto, let's be physical, let's show them what we got, you got to show us that you can play. You know, all those cliche things you can say to a team that you want to get playing better because, you know, we've had a few down years here yet, and we got to win some important games because it's getting a little tough. The competition's tough. Our things happen. Your enrollment goes down. We're the smallest school in a big school conference, but we can still play. That's our motto, and put that chip on your shoulder and let's go win some football games.
Anything in particular that pleased you from the scrimmage last week?
Anything particular? Our running backs are pretty decent. I'm happy with the way they play. Hayden Carlson and Buss, they're Josh Buss, we call him Buzz, Josh Taylor. They had a nice outing, and then the other 2 guys that come in and spelled them, they're little and fast. So we got Thunder, Lightning, little, fast. And we got 4 guys that can play there. So very happy with the way our running backs are playing. And the offensive line, they're doing their job, and we've got about 8 kids that can play. So they're rotating, and when they rotate, you really don't skip a beat with the kids we have. They're doing their job. So I'm impressed with what Coach Hartwig's doing with the line.
What are your thoughts overall about this group for this year?
I'm going to go in there cautiously optimistic, but hopes are really high. I mean, we're setting a standard this year that we got to win games, and the kids we have playing experience, and they're a pretty good outfit from the time they started playing football in youth or whatever you want to call it, up through junior high, middle school, and freshman, sophomore football. They're a pretty good football team. So we expect pretty good things this year.
Can you talk about some of the young men on the ball club and where they fit in this year?
Well, I guess, the most, solid. In me understanding what's going on our team, it's the offensive side of the football. I mean, Len and the defensive guys have their group of kids, and I don't intermix too much with the defense guys because you let your coaches coach, and it's a defense and offense. But like I said, I'll talk about that offensive line we have right away. A couple juniors we got. Jace Frick is playing left tackle. He penciled in at the start. These are all penciled in guys that are going to start for us Thursday night. Jace Frick tackle. Grant Allers is a guard on the other side. Cooper Berry's going to start at center for us. And then we had a couple seniors playing. Bob Scherer is a senior and playing guard, and Sam Granger's a tackle on the other side. So that's our starting offensive line going in Thursday night. The outside perimeter guys that are going to play for us, the receiver spots, they're filled by Cam Kolstad, kid that played last year. Outstanding guard on the basketball team also, so he brings a lot of winning with him, and he's a really good player. So on the other side, we had a tight end that took the year off last year. Who knows why kids take a year off? I don't know why, but Vetter's one of those kids, Vetter McTaggart. I mean, it was nice that during the basketball season, I do a lot of things with the basketball program. I ref and I'm at the games and doing stuff, and he says, Coach, I'm coming back up for football next year. I said, about time, why'd you leave? You know, all those things that a coach is going to say at a basketball game. But impressed with him right now. It gives us a big tight end. He's 6'4", 6'5" kid. He was a lineman for us in his previous years playing football. And now he brings that lineman blocking mentality as a tight end, which you know you need if you're going to run the football. You got to have a blocking tight end. And Jake Sadowska, a starter now for a couple years on the outside Z receiver. Then we got a couple other kids that can spell kids and get into the games. Ben Jordan's another senior that is going to be an X receiver, another kid that took the year off last year and came back out this year. Kind of was hanging with Vetter at that basketball game, and they said they're both coming out, so we were happy with that last year. Derek Stretz is a junior kid that's going to spell and be a double tight end kid with our double tight end sets. And Landon Truby, who as of just 2 days ago was going to be a kid that was going to get a bunch of reps at the Z position at receiver. But then Coach Emmerfall come up and said, hey, need a guy at corner, and what do you have? So looked at all of our kids, and the dude that could bring the most help to our defense was Landon Truby. So we moved him like 3 days ago. I think Sunday night was that we were lifting, and he asked me that question. And I talked to the coaches, and we said we can move Landon. He'd be a kid, and we talked to him, and he said, I'll do it, anything to get on the field. So he's one of those guys too, so that's awesome for what he's doing. A couple more senior linemen, Peyton Clute and Austin Springer, both senior linemen that are going to be part of that 8-man rotation, and Sam Hyman, another senior lineman. And those guys hopefully solidify empty spots or rotational spots in the offensive line. Tanner Heslip is another senior tight end kid, and Triton Gross is a senior Z-back. I just want to give these guys some shout-outs because they've been with our program the whole time and they're seniors. So hope to give in the game. You know, there's things that go on. And now to the other perimeter kids going to the spot that everybody wants to know about all the time, and that's playing quarterback. We don't have a senior quarterback in this group, so there was no senior quarterback coming through the ranks here. There was one. He decided to call it quits. And next up was Trevin Fries. He's a junior, and it's been a winter training and a winter doing and making things work with him, and he's turned out to be a pretty decent kid with all the work he's done over the winter. So excited about that, but he's a junior, not a lot of varsity experience at all, because we were rotating 2 kids last year. And so Trevin Fries is going to be our starter. And 2 guys in the back of him are a junior and a freshman. The junior is Gavin Larson, who, if you pay attention to Marshfield Athletics, he was, in the state finals and ran a 10.99 100-meter dash, or maybe 10.97. He's going to yell at me for that if he hears that. But really a fast kid, and he was a freshman last year doing that. So I've been working on him, had him in class, so we did a lot of discussing football within class while he's doing his algebra. So, but he's a really smart kid, so we had time that we could do things. And the freshman surprise is, an 8th grader coming up, and one of the most prolific passers I've seen in a long time, in a lot of years. He's a better passer than his brother was, and I just joshed his brother because he was out at practice tonight. Ethan Femmel is a freshman kid that can flat out throw the football. I've never had a starting freshman or a freshman that got playing time at quarterback ever in my life, but this is going to be a kid that's going to get some play time. So how much, I don't know, but he can flat out throw the football, and it's awesome. And our 4th quarterback this year, coming from a few years, we've had 1 quarterback that was on our roster. It got 4. Brock Vandewis is another sophomore kid that can, and has shown some really good things, being running the JV squad right now so far in his first weeks of practice. He's done a really nice job. Tailback and fullback, the 2 kids I talked about was, Josh Taylor at fullback, and he's a 220-pound kid, and Hayden Carlson, they're both wrestlers and really athletic, very good kids, and, they're going to tote the football. I mean, if we got to start taking tabs of how many carries they're going to get the football, I mean, if we have 50 plays in the game, I want Hayden to have 30 of them. So that's the kind of kid he is. So we're going to hopefully run the football. God bless us if we can, because, then it makes everything else open up and it's much better. Harlan Meisner and Tanner Heslip and Adrian Pieper are also dudes that are going to carry the football for us, and they're fast and quick, and we can do a lot of different things with them. So that's the offensive side of the football. I don't know if you want to question in between that stuff or anything like such, but
The only question I have is with your freshman quarterback, Ethan Femmel, one of the characteristics of his brother was his running skills. Do you see potentially Ethan has that type of ability as well?
There's a backstory with why Trevor couldn't throw as well as he did. He broke his hand the very first play against Hudson, and he never told anybody. And he just went around with a broken. If I'm pointing at this to you guys, but that first bone that goes from your pointer finger back to your wrist. 2 weeks after the season, he had surgery because he finally told somebody. And the big thing is, and I'm going to call out my wife on this one because she was at the game and she's a pretty avid fan. She's one of those football coaches' wives, and she gets it. I came home that night and she goes, "What's wrong with Trevor?" I said, "I have no idea," because he couldn't throw a 5-yard out. He was up in the stands and he's missing. And I was like, "What the heck? Nerves?" She goes, "He couldn't be." She goes, "He broke his hand on the second play of the game, Dennis." I'm like, "Be quiet. Zip it." Nobody said nothing, and he didn't say nothing. He just kept coming to practice, and he broke his hand. So that's why Trevor couldn't throw as prolifically as his brother. But his brother has that. Dale, you watch football all the time. College guys, you know the dudes that are who's the Kansas City Chiefs quarterback? What's his name? Sorry, Mahomes. He throws got that release, looks like sidearm. This kid does it. I don't. Because I was asking, you learn that in camp or no? And he's got that motion. The point coach, when they did camp, he was amazed at the kid. And here's me being old, bad coach. I'm like, I'm not starting a freshman. I'm not going to even think about playing a freshman. I'm sitting here right now. This kid can play. So anyway, he can maybe get some looks. We'll see how everything goes, and I want to get him some into action. Hoping get some plays. Coach Harburg just told me tonight, he goes, the last 3 nights of practice, because he rotates linemen, coach does this all the time, and he always goes, "Did you notice anything?" I'm like, "No, I noticed nothing." He goes, "Good, because I put this guy in here and this guy in here." And then he tells me 2 nights ago, whenever Ethan goes in, I don't notice anything changing. So I'm like, that's pretty good. Nothing's changing. So at least we can, hold our breath and say that whatever. But holy cow, the kid can play, and I'm proud of him and proud of what he's done, proud of how he handles things. So, but Trevin really is now picked up his game also. I mean, with competition, right? And then Gavin is right behind him, and Gavin we have in a whole bunch of the third quarterback now in sense of depth chart things. We've moved Gavin using his speed in speed sweeps, and we've used him in some other kind of things. So he's a receiver now also. So he just jumped in and said, I'll play receiver. It's not a problem. And so we got good attitudes on the team and kids that are willing to, give up whatever they were doing for the team, and they're doing those things. So if you ask me about those kind of things, that's really a positive for us with the offensive side of the football. So
And how about the defense?
Defense now, again, turnover happens, and we still got some dudes back there. Our defensive backfield is, pretty solid seniors. So liking that a lot. We look at Jackson Anderson, who's a track kid, and he just lost to Gavin by a couple hundredths of a second to go to state. He was a sectional guy. So Jackson is back. He's our lockdown corner. We put him on man-to-man stuff and say the rest of us will play over here. You go play over there, Jackson. So those are kind of things. And back at McFarland, who played last year for us, gained some weight, cut his 40 time down to a 4.9, but he's a safety, so he's a smart kid. That's cool. Easton Ledden, another kid we moved last year from running back to safety just because of the fact that, dude, you want to get on the field and play. we move kids, and they're all in, and that's what they do. So Easton did that last year, but now he's a solid player at safety for us. But again, another senior. And then on the last cornerback on the field corner, we have a competition there. It's with Will Krause and the Landon Truby kid that we just said moved from safety or from receiver over there. So those two can split time, make things happen there on that field corner. Other dudes that are there, shout outs, Braden Glomman, Gavin Miller, Jaden Braun, Zach Schley, Jaden Stargart, sophomore, and Grayson Varso, sophomores. Those are all kids that can play, and we have dudes that can be a good JV team and some varsity kids. So we're senior loaded at our defensive backfield if we want to be. Okay, so that's a good thing. You want to have that second level. Drop down another level into the linebacker area. The circles are from Lenny, and this is all coaches writing this down for me, and we're going to start 2 juniors at middle linebacker. Guess we're going to play a 3-4 defense this year, a little bit different. We don't have all the big D-line guys, so you work with what you got. So we'll play 3-4, and Lucas Halen, who was a quarterback last year, beefed up. The kid squatted 450 this year and benched like 285, 290 something. So he's beefed up. He's a good-looking kid. And he's going to spell quarterback, too, when we got to do some quarterback run stuff. I didn't mention that before, but if we need a yard, I'm going to say, blow the whistle and get Hayden in there. And, Dale, the wedge is a great play. Quarterback wedge, a great play if you got the guy that can do it. Wes Nowitzki is the other middle linebacker he's just a fly-around guy, and he's so intelligent of where things are going, and so intuitive is the word I'm looking for, where things are going, where things are coming, and he tackles like crazy. He's not as big as his father when his dad played at Everest, but he hits harder than Heath, I'll tell you that, so whatever. I hope Heath is listening.
Hard to believe that.
It's hard to believe, but he brings a load of dynamite. That's a cool thing. The other linebackers that we got there are, Caden Snyder, Evan Calvary, and Ethan Trulin and Mason Anderson. Ethan Trulin, Mason Anderson will bring up the outside backers or outside guys in that 3-4. So Ethan's a senior, and so is Mason. Johnny Sternweith is another guy that plays an outside will linebacker, can defend the pass a little bit better. John's a little guy. He's a wrestler like crazy. He can get down low. He's also played some nose guard in the scrimmage, but he didn't know how to play nose guard really well and kind of stood up. You know what happens if you're a little guy and stand up as a nose guard. You get moved back by big centers. But he'll get better at that, and if he has to do those things. Chris Ugertz is a junior, Al Lopez, and a couple of sophomores, Brennan Polzine and Wyatt Nowitzki. It's the other Nowitzki kid. There's 2 of them, both play linebackers, so that's cool. Bring it down now. We'll come down into the guys that put their hands in the dirt or stand-up kids. Carson Klum is a senior, big, tall, 6'5" kid, good-looking defensive end. Not a lot of playtime last year, but had some. Really long, gangly dude. Hopefully keeps things inside, and so the linebackers can take care of him. Other side of that ball, other side of the defense, Caden Reisner, another junior, and another man, a surprise to us, but maybe not to him. We moved another fullback to a D tackle this year just because we're light on defensive tackles. And so Keegan Young was a senior this year, was a fullback last year. Moved him to the nose technique in that 3-4. So a lot of learning going on. And then the coolest, a good get for a football program is we got a soccer player again who can kick the football, but he's big as a house. He made himself into a bodybuilder. He's big as a house. Aaron Agna, and he's never played football before, but we're going to put him at the nose and say, you're a big guy, go pound on these kids, stay low, and all the good things you can be as a nose tackle. So we'll see how he plays. He's got to learn real fast, but he gives us some weight at that nose tackle position. So the one big regret we have this year, we went out to Mankato University to a team camp and a full contact camp, and he would have been a super stud for us here. Robert Thorson's his name. And he got dinged up with an ACL injury in camp. One of those stupid things where you plant and you pop it. I don't even know how to explain it, but it honked. He was walking on it, and, it was like, you got to just go out. You can't be here. But it ended up being, to him, according to surgeons and all that stuff, not as bad. And he's already, the motion that he's got is just because he's an athlete and he's a go-getter wrestler too, and he's already way past all the degree angles you have to be with your therapy. So a great kid, but we lost a real good D lineman there. Who else can we talk about here? That's it. Defense right there. I did linebackers, did DBs, punters, kickers. We can go right there. Another beautiful thing is that big bodybuilder soccer dude. Guess what he can do? He can kick. We're lucky, so he can kick the heck out of the football. He can punt also, but talking to coach, he said, we'll keep it easy. Just let him focus on kicking, and we're going to let our big lineman, Jace Frick, big leg theory. Jace Frick is going to be our punter. He, stand there, punts it a mile. Really, really good punter. So we're going to go that way. Our snappers are Beckett McFarland. He was our safety. And our holder is Landon Truby, that dude that moved from safety or from receiver to corner. He's going to be our holder. And then kick returners, we got that running back, Hayden Carlson, Jake Sadowska, and then Easton Ledden is another return man. And our punt returner, we're going to put back guys who can catch the football. So it's the Carlson and Jake Sadowska again. There's going to be our punt returners. All good hands people, and that's where we're going to hit it. That sounds like I got everybody mentioned except the coaching staff, which is phenomenal. And the one story, one of our safeties coach got called to active duty in the National Guard, so he went overseas, and he's not going to be able to coach this year for us, but we brought in Brandon Rakes, an old name from 1997 state champ teams. So right now, on our staff, 1, 2, 3, 4, the whole defensive staff is all Marshfield alum football players. Every one of them except Len, state champion, which is really cool. And our whole offensive staff, 1, 2, 3, and 3 guys of us. And Coach Hartwig, Coach Brandt, and me are the only 3 non-Marshfield people on the whole staff. I'm really proud of that. Just because I've been here 30 years, so I'm a Marshfield guy too. I'm just going to call myself a Marshfield guy. I know I love Stanley Boyd, but I was only living there for 18 years, and then I left. So
They kicked you out.
They kicked me out. I get it, so I'm a Marshfield guy too. And Coach Hartwig's been here longer than me, so we're going to call him a Marshfield guy too.
So. Denny, thanks for joining us. Before we let you go, we're going to have Dale Yukaitis come in and give us some thoughts, his ideas about Marshfield football. Dale, any questions you have for Coach Goettl?
Well, I know you run a flexible offense, let's put it that way. Anywhere from the I to there's even a little bit of a wing T twist in there at times.
You did.
There's a spread look, whatever that means these days.
Exactly.
With the quarterback back about 4 or 5 yards. And you've got some young guys that are going to play, and I know you relied upon them a lot as the season went on, especially to change plays at the line of scrimmage depending upon what they saw. So I'm kind of wondering where that's at right now. Probably a work in progress, huh?
No. It's ready to go. We don't do much without giving away all secrets. I know New Richmond's listening right now, so, right? Our offense is, I just call it a mutt offense because we do anything we want to. We're still a scheme team. We're still wing T, down, kick out. We're still all the philosophy of wing T, but you have to be a zone run team because of what New Richmond does. They play basketball on grass.
Yeah.
I mean, they play you man-to-man defense all over the field. And we haven't beaten them in 4 years, but the coach told me we scored the most points on them of any team. I didn't go look, but they're a good outfit. and they do things that are different. And in football, if you do things that are different, that is very, very tough to go against. But we don't really do too many audibles at the line of scrimmage. How about if you say, I'm going up and I'm giving my quarterbacks the opportunity or the option to go to a quick check play that is already built in.
Okay.
And there's a language between the receivers and the quarterback, and it's a hand signal, whatever stuff. They make their own what they want to do, okay? I give them the routes. You guys do whatever the heck you want because whatever. You give them the ownership, yada, yada, yada. That's the big thing. Give them ownership, right? And they do it. We discuss things in meetings. We discuss things in team meetings. If we say, hey, this, I want you to look at this, and then they go back and say, okay, I'll make it work here. As far as changing out of plays, Coach Herring, God rest your soul, he said, Dennis, you don't have to get out of a good play to go to a better play.
Yeah.
And I think we're pretty good with letting them, hey, run our plays that we call.
Okay.
And if you see an opportunity, Coach Brandt always says, you don't go broke making a profit. So his thing is, if you see a chance where we can get 5-7 yards and it costs you very little, quick pass, we're going to do it, and we'll change that way. Does it make sense to you?
Sure.
I mean, some people call RPOs, we're a high school team, we're not good enough to do RPOs. I'm not good enough to coach it because I didn't do it. So you coach what you know and try to make it work with how you know things. So, man, oh man, I guess, Dale, we don't do too many audible.
Okay.
You know, I mean, it's built in where you can have a chance to.
There are some checks in there.
Yeah,
Sure.
you know, so whatever you want to call that. How's that?
Okay.
Yeah.
I got one other question. I got a couple questions, actually. I know you've been on here for a while, and you want to get
I don't
back
want to ruin your
get back
crowd
to
base, guys. I don't
No,
want to check the ratings.
Get back to
Check the ratings.
Get back to that food. One of the questions is going to be, how's the pizza?
The one I had was phenomenal. That sausage and whatever it was awesome.
Okay. I guess that's it for me. You spent an awful lot of time on your players. I was going to ask about special teams and stuff, but you've covered that as well. So, I guess the other question was, got to go to New Richmond. They're a very flexible team as well. Pretty fast, at least they have been. There's some pretty quick dudes out there.
Still fast.
On the field, okay. And
the quarterback's back. He's a 3-year starter.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, no, he's a real good player.
Yeah. How do I want to say this? So, going to New Richmond, it's a nice town. The crowd is a little bit more like the crowd at Menominee. That's all I'm going to say.
Well, how about if you win, I don't know, you gain some confidence as a crowd. I mean, how about you be nice and say you gain confidence as a crowd? But
they're pretty intense.
Yeah, we got to win, Dale. This isn't even funny. We got to win.
Okay.
7-6, and what was it, 30-20, something like. I didn't even know the scores, but we were in that game up there. Fourth quarter, we're down by a touchdown. I don't know. We got to win. That's just the way it is.
Okay.
And we've been preparing again for a year, so gotta win.
Let's turn to Larry Hazer. Larry, any questions or comments you have?
I don't know. You guys have been covering everything here.
Well, I listened to your comment, and it'd be bad for the coaches to say they got to do better than next year. Neilsville. I love Neilsville. We got to get better and we win football games. We will. They will.
Yeah, they will. Just a quick thing about the conference. You mentioned you're a small school in this conference. How do you see it shaping up this year? I know DC Everest has kind of gotten back out on top again.
You got to just I hate theory. I hate theory. Theory sucks. Just like predicting things sucks. But I hate that word. It honks. Okay, I'm sorry. Stevens Point is going to be good, and Everest lost a lot of guys also. But they have. You hear rumors, and I'm the guy that doesn't read into things and go study their. Who cares? You bring who you bring, but they said they got a good quarterback coming in. Old player's kid, something like that from way back when. I forget the name, but if it was Rhodey or something like that, they have a kid that can play. You know, Rapids might be a little bit down, maybe. I don't know. They could be in West. You know, they always compete very well. That's just the way things are. But I know our first three are an onslaught. Man, we play 3 championship teams that were there and make it to round 4, level 4, level 3. So I don't know. I'm going to talk to my AD and see if we can figure out a different schedule next year. Maybe it could help us out. You know, so but you got to beat them all if you're going to win. You know, if you want to make it to some playoff games, we got to win some games that mean something. That's where we're at.
Going all the way back to Len Lutke's and then your career here as well. I don't know Marshfield has ever backed down from a challenge. It's just the kind of program, and the teams that play you know that.
Yeah.
They know when they play Marshfield, let's strap it on.
And that's the motif we try to bring. I mean, you can only do so much as a coach and fire up kids, but kids go the way the coaching staff goes. If you're fired up, they get fired up.
Sure.
You know, it's you can't go in there and, you know, woe is me and be Eeyore from Winnie the Pooh and expect to win football games.
Well, I think you see that with kids that you said are going to different positions so they can get on the field.
You want to be on the field, you got to want to be on the field.
Yeah.
You can't. Too many kids, and I don't want to go in philosophy, you know, because there's too many people that, you know, they get frustrated by failing or they get frustrated by ridicule. It goes to the Twin Thieves book by Steve Jones, and I teach that every spring to my seniors. Kids are afraid to fail and they're afraid to be ridiculed because if you don't do well, the next thing that's on the Snapdoodle or the Instacrap is somebody calling you, look at him, he fell over, oh, he's a loser, he didn't make the team, or he's not on offense, or he's not. I mean, and they get frustrated by that.
Yeah.
And our job as coaches is to be psychiatrists and pick them up and lift up kids and lift up people instead of, again, too much in society is put people down, make myself look better, yada, yada, yada. We want to, you got to get on the field. And whatever you want to do, I'll help you get there, but you got to want to do what you got to do. So, hoping for good things this year, guys. Hoping for good things.
All right. Well, Coach, thanks for coming by. We appreciate your help this evening. Once again, the Marshfield Tiger football team opens its schedule on Thursday evening at New Richmond. Game time 7 p.m. Our broadcast at 6:30 on Thursday evening on Sports Radio 92.3 FM, WOSQ, and WOSQFM.com, as well as ZaleskiSports.com. We'll take a break and come back with Colby football coach Logan Rosemeyer following these messages.
I got referred to the orthodontist, and I was really nervous, but in my 2-year process, the staff was very welcoming and very kind to me. My brother also had treatment here, and he was very happy with a smile. I'd recommend Bruce Orthodontics to all my friends and family that want a beautiful smile just like us.
When I come in for my appointment, the wait is really short. All of the workers are very kind and sweet. They try to make sure that everything in my mouth is just right after my checkup. And Dr. Bruce is very nice.
I'd love the opportunity to meet you and transform your smile.
You can hear
Call us to set up your free consultation today.
Sports on the Go with Trajan Bogdanovich of Greenwood every Wednesday evening at 7 p.m. right here on WOSQ. Brought to us by McDonald's of Marshfield.
Tired of hearing about checking account features? So are we. It's more about what you can do with your money to live the life you want. Forward Bank puts your access to everything you need in the palm of your hand. Mobile deposit, recurring digital payments, transfer funds, or pay a friend easily. Yes, our checking is free and includes all that you would expect. It's supported by your neighbors and friends at Forward, dedicated to serving our communities. Open online today at forward.bank.
Hiller's True Value in Marshfield, Central Wisconsin's Milwaukee Tool Destination Center. The tools you trust from the people you can depend on. Shop the store within a store and find what you're looking for.
That's what I was looking for. That's what I was looking for. Now that's what I was looking for.
Looks like you found what you're looking for.
We redesigned our store to offer the biggest selection of Milwaukee tools.
A selection so big you'll need a map to find your way out.
Hiller's True Value in Marshfield, Central Wisconsin's Milwaukee Tool Destination Center.
Passionately working to bring pure, delicious grassland butter to your table.
Once again, we're at Nuts Deep 2 on South Central Avenue in Marshfield for our high school football coaches program on WOSQ and ZaleskiSports.com with Delia Kitis and Larry Hazer. I'm Gene Delisio. Our next guest is Colby High School football coach Logan Rosemeyer. Logan, thanks for joining us this evening. And let's turn things over to Larry for some questions for Colby coach Logan Rosemeyer. Larry?
All right, thanks, Gene. Logan, glad to have you with us here today. Your second year as the head coach of the Colby Hornet football team. How are things looking? You have a scrimmage at all this year?
Yep.
Okay.
We scrimmaged up in Tomahawk last Friday.
How did that go for you?
Went pretty good. Got some young guys in, and we're kind of running a new offense, but feel like they're kind of grasping it pretty well. So feel pretty good coming out of the scrimmage. No injuries or anything like that on the varsity end. So
you're talking new offense. What are we looking at?
A little bit.
Not
of
to give too
stuff.
many secrets.
Well, they'll see it on film.
Yeah,
so.
right. Yeah.
A little bit of spread stuff, a little power read.
So how is that different from what you've done?
So we'll typically have probably 3 receivers, maybe 4 receivers spread out.
Okay.
Typically we've been 2 tight end and wing, and last year we went 2 wings. Really bunched in. Just found last year that we really couldn't move people in the wing T offense, even though it's designed to get angle blocks, so it'll give you a good angle to really block a guy that's kind of not looking at you. But even then, we still had a hard time moving guys, so felt like this was kind of more to the direction to go. Spread it out a little bit. Try to play like 7-on-7 sometimes, or 3-on-3 out on the edges, rather than 11-on-11, just right in the middle.
Okay. What about some of your players coming back this year? I know teams each year have turnover. How does it look for the Colby football team this year?
Yeah, so we got 4 seniors that started quite a bit last year coming back. Brendan Geiger, second team all-conference D-end last year, so he'll be back at that position in fullback. Luke Canula started defensive back last year. He'll be our quarterback as well this year. He got in a little bit towards the end of the year last year at quarterback too with an injury. And then Cage Swacker, O-line, D-line, started both ways last year, or at least definitely on offense. And then Trista Smiles will start on offense last year. He'll be an offensive lineman and a linebacker. And then we have Arturo Lopez back. He was our center last year. He'll be playing guard this year, and then D-tackle as well. Chase Haig, sophomore running back. He played quite a bit last year as a freshman and was pretty impressive. He's not a real big guy, but he's pretty quick. And just the way he competed last year at the varsity level is really impressive. And same thing with Danny Nunez. Sophomore is going to start both ways for us. Got a bunch of playing time last year as a freshman on varsity. So that's kind of our core group right now coming back.
I know Colby's been known in the past for being a running team. Is that kind of what you're going to go with? But I know you said you were going to go with more receivers. We're going to see a little more passing out of Colby now, or?
Well, we're still going to try to run the ball.
Okay.
I think at this level, small school, high school football, you got to be able to run the ball. There's no doubt about it. I feel like with this offense that we're putting in, it helps us a little more because we're going to try to get a double team, and then we're going to try to read a defensive lineman. So hopefully that helps a little bit with getting pushed back from the offensive line. I know we had a lot of that last year. We ended up with negative plays because we just had guys getting pushed back and a lot of penetration through the offensive line.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully that kind of shores some things up. And then just being able to use our speed, throw it out quick, and just kind of get guys out on the edge, maybe a little 3-on-3 situation, 2-on-2 or whatever, let them make some plays out in space.
Second year as a coach for Colby, what have you seen out of this CWC Large? I mean, it's
pretty good.
That's a tough conference compared to what you used to see in the Clover Belt.
Yeah. I mean, as good as the Clover Belt is, I mean, Stratford, Amherst, Wittenberg, I mean, that's a gauntlet right there. And even our non-conference last year was Stanley. Had a pass to beat Northwestern that they overthrew, would have made to level 3. Abbotsford had a game-winning kick that they made, but they had a false start on it to beat Coleman. So right there is 2 level 3 teams, potentially even farther, even in our non-conference. So, I mean, yeah, it was quite the gauntlet last year.
Dale, anything you want to ask Logan here tonight?
Well, you said you were making some changes. Obviously, you'll throw the ball a little bit more, which to me, having coached against Colby for, I don't know what it was, 8 years or so, if they threw it, it was an emergency a lot of times. And there were a lot of trick plays on special teams, and I'm not going to bother to ask you about those because we don't want to give those away. Colby was also known for them. Yeah. Colby was also very good with their linebackers, especially the two linebackers. If you have a two-man crew, a 34 or a 52, whatever you want to call it these days. Mm-hmm. So what about that situation for you? Linebackers were always a strength of Colby football.
Yeah, I feel pretty good there. We have Ali Steen. He didn't play much last year, but he'll be a two-way starter for us. He's actually captain this year. So we got him at one of the inside linebacker spots, and then Tristan Smazel, state wrestler, is freshman and junior year. Not a real big guy, but he's really smart, knows exactly where he's got to go. Mm-hmm. So I feel pretty good about that position.
Your defense overall pretty consistent, or some experience there, or some holes you've had to fill?
Yeah, it's kind of a mix. We got a DN and D tackle returning, 2 D tackles that played quite a bit last year. The 2 linebackers don't have a ton of varsity experience, but I still feel pretty good about them. They're both pretty smart and physical. On the back end, it's going to be a little interesting. We're going to start 3 sophomores and a freshman this first game, along with a senior. So, but out of those, Chase Haig and Danny Nunez are 2 of the sophomores, and they got a lot of experience last year on the varsity level. So, feel all right about that yet, even though they're pretty young.
I don't have your schedule in front of me, so who's your season opener?
Stanley.
Yep. Okay, well, that's always a challenge. That's not a cupcake, that's for sure. Stanley's coached against them for many years as well up there. When you look at the conference, I don't want to ask you that. I was going to ask you, what do you see as far as the other teams in the conference? You know, as a coach, I always kind of hated that question because I started talking about all these other teams, and then your parents and your players are sitting at home going, "Hey, coach, coach, what about us?" Special teams is an important part of the game, of course. What about kickoff, field goal, punting? How do you stand there?
Yeah, we always spend a lot of time looking at special teams, see if there's a way we can block a punt, or if there's a way we can get a big kick return. Last year when we played Wittenberg, we saw some things where we thought we could get after it and block a punt, and we ended up doing that and scored a touchdown off of it. So that's always something we definitely look at as far as special teams go, trying to get extra possessions. Or
what about the players who are like your kicker, your field goal kicker, if you have one? Some teams have one at this stage, some don't. What about the people that are going to be doing that kicking for you?
We'll see.
Okay. No,
not true.
You know what?
If I knew, I'd tell you, but
no.
We'll see.
The other question I always hated that: who are going to be some of your special teams players, especially your centers? And I went, oh God, you've been reading my nightmares. Going into that first game, every coach thinking about, oh God, the first time we have to long snap, or the first.
Right.
So many games are won or lost, and when you look at the games at state, it's amazing the number of championships that are won down there because the other team has goofed up on special teams in some way. That's always a big factor. Now, I know you like to run the ball, but you're going to have to throw it in some circumstances. So who are some of the key players there as far as your receivers or people that you're going to be counting on?
Yeah, I think our go-to guys are probably going to be Chase Haig, Danny Nunez. Those are going to be kind of the slot guys. If we do bring our running back in with our fullback, it'll be Chase. But we'll split those guys out quite a bit, try to get them in good positions where we can get them in some space, get them some room to run.
Coaching staff, pretty much the same, or have you had some changes?
Yep, same as last year. Got Robbie Smazel, offensive coordinator, also does offensive line, defensive line. Cody Meyer is going to take on a little more of the defensive game planning. Last year, he called the defense, and I kind of game planned it. So he's going to take over a little more of the game planning this year, so I can kind of be involved with both sides of the ball a little more. And then Sawyer Schmutzler is our receiving and defensive back coach, and then Jimmy Flink has been with us for a long time, since before I got here. He's going to do quarterbacks and defensive backs.
Well, Coach, having coached against Colby for many years in the Clover Belt, we had some great games, some very unusual games at times, but I know Colby always shows up ready to hit you in the mouth. I know that for a fact, that Colby's always been tough. And so I would expect that you probably carry on that tradition, because that's been a Colby tradition. And I guess good luck to you on this season.
Thank you.
All right, that's Logan Rosemeyer. He is the coach for...
I do have one question.
Oh, I'm sorry. Gene's back in here. Where did he come from?
And I don't know if you mentioned this or not, but of course you have two former coaches going to the Hall of Fame this year.
Yeah.
Jeff Rosemeyer and Jim Hagan. Tell us about that great honor.
Well, Jeff's already in the Hall of Fame. My dad, Robin.
Robin's going. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, my Uncle Jeff's already in. My dad, Robin's going in. They're going to have a really good team up in Gilman for 8-man this year. And then, Jim Hagan coached before me. I coached under him. So that'll be quite the banquet to attend.
And, of course, Coach Teska before that is in the Hall of Fame.
Yep.
So you have some big shoes to fill.
Yep.
So congratulations.
Yeah.
Anyway, the Colby Hornets football team opens its schedule coming up this weekend. They'll take on Stanley Boyd at Stanley Boyd on Friday evening. And Coach, good luck in that ball game. That's Colby High School football coach Logan Rosemeyer joining us on our high school football coaches program here at Nuts Deep 2 in Marshfield. Coming up next, it's Auburndale football coach Jay Anderson. So please stay with us on WOSQ and on ZaleskiSports.com.
BBD Sports Shop is your one-stop headquarters for everything outdoors this summer. They have turkey calls, decoys, and more from HS Strut, Mojo, and Woodhaven. Food plot seed and mineral from Big & J, Real Deal, Big Tine, and Whitetail Magic. And a wide variety of Big Bear Down scent sprays and bear bait. By the bag, by the barrel, and by the truckload. 2 convenient Wisconsin locations or online at BigBearDown.com.
From humble beginnings in 1904, the Wheatrick family has grown Grassland Dairy Products into one of the largest processors of butter in the nation. Based in Greenwood, Wisconsin, the family and its hundreds of employees continue their pursuit of providing high-quality products that can proudly be served in restaurants and homes across America.
Are you ready to give your kids a head start on smart money habits? With Abbey Bank's Bright Future Checking, kids and teens can learn to manage money with you right by their side. They get their own debit card, and you can keep an eye on spending with easy-to-use mobile banking and card controls. The Bright Future Checking account has no fees, no minimum balance, and kids get a bonus after the first deposit is made. Give your child the power of independence. Stop in or visit abbeybank.com to get started. Abbey Bank is member FDIC.
Little Sprouts Learning Garden with 2 convenient central Wisconsin locations. Here's Brooke Sievers to tell us about it.
Little Sprouts has been around for almost 7 years here in Auburndale. In Rudolph, we've been open for about 2.5. We serve here in Auburndale, we have 6 weeks old up until 12-year-olds. And then in Rudolph, we have 1-year-olds up until 12-year-olds. The biggest thing that we do with them is we have play-based learning so that they learn through play with each other. And social skills are a huge part of what we do with them.
Find Little Sprouts Learning Garden on Facebook today.
We're following high school football here on WOSQ and ZaleskiSports.com this evening. It's our high school football coaches program from Nuts Deep 2 on South Central Avenue in Marshfield. Our next guest is the Auburndale football coach, Jay Anderson. The Auburndale Eagles coming off a solid season last year, 9-2 last year. They've won 8, 9, 11, and 9 games each of the last 4 seasons. So great success for Coach Anderson and his Auburndale program in recent years. Coach, welcome to our program for this evening.
Thank you very much. Very happy to be here.
Well, tell us about your preseason, how things have looked for your Auburndale football team thus far.
Pretty good. There's always some things, especially early on, that we're still working on and cleaning up and still trying to find out kind of who we are. We return some nice linemen, some good skill positions, and of course we graduated our fair share of talent, but we returned enough that we were really have something to build on.
Tell us about some of the young men on your ball club from last year and where they're to help you this year.
Well, it starts with the line. We return 4 offensive linemen. We return, I think, 3 defensive linemen. So offensive linemen, some of the returning twins Colby and Logan Nagel, Tevin Bauer, and Jay Kearns returning. And we also have, on the defensive side of the ball, returning Dawson Baird, Carter Grossel at DN, and Logan Nagel at D-tackle again. And I think Dawson Baird will be able to handle some of the offensive guard, maybe the fifth guy, as it looks like. So we should have a lot of experience in offensive line. Wide receiver last year was Peyton Weinfurter, is making the move to quarterback, and Nathan Van Wy was kind of the backup tailback, featured more of a fullback, and this year it looks like he'll step in and do a real nice job as a featured running back. And then another wide receiver is Trevor Trowbridge, a defensive back there. Wyatt Molson returns at linebacker. And then Peyton Weinfurt is a D-back, and Julian Anderson started some at cornerback also last year. So we have some kids coming back and some pretty good experience. Also, Josh Lundgren didn't play last year. He got a knee injury in the scrimmage, and he missed all last year. So to have him back is a real boost also.
I believe, Coach, in recent years you've had to move a young man from another position into that quarterback spot, and it's worked out pretty well for you. So you're going to do the same thing again this year.
It really has worked out well. Yeah, I didn't really think about that, but that's true. Caden Anderson was a running back, and putting him at quarterback. And then the same thing with Blake Rabb, multi-positions in his freshman, sophomore, junior year. But those guys did have that youth football or junior high and JV experience, just like Peyton. Peyton was a JV quarterback and been working at the last 2 years, and then sliding him back there. And it's kind of a position with multi-purpose. We wanted an athlete back there, and that's kind of how it happens. And some of them are different ways. I think Peyton's faster, quicker than maybe like a Caden Anderson, who's a real good power runner, nice arms, strong athlete, and then Blake was real balanced and could do a lot of things. So we'll see. We got to play to our athletes' strengths, and we'll see how it goes.
How about some newcomers on the ball club this year?
I think some of the new kids. I don't like leaving anybody out. I think another twins, juniors, Ray and Russ Teska. I think both will be starting at least on one side of the ball, if not two. Ray at running back and wide receiver. Russ at linebacker, I think, expecting him to step up. Kind of going through it a little bit, trying to think of some of the other kids. Trevin Sievers worked real hard off season, is a nice athlete. He started a few games last year. Coleman Becker is another senior that can play a lot of different positions. So hopefully he can step up. Some juniors are Kyle Bowman and Colton Brandel, some nice athletes. Again, I'm going to probably forget some guys, but trying to think of some of these kids that have been stepping up. And, we have 16 seniors and 10 juniors, so we should have some good depth. I expect them to have themselves ready to play. So there should be a number of kids that are ready. And again, I with the seniors, Jack Zenner's a senior wide receiver D-back, Aiden Wargowski. So we have a number of kids that are just hoping to step up and contribute wherever needed. Another one, even a special teams kid, Evan Bowman, really trains hard and works hard. And I don't think he'll be starting on either side or challenging, but I think the special teams, he should have a big impact.
I know, Coach, you work very hard to maintain the numbers in your program. How has that work panned out for you this year?
Again, good numbers. We're hoping to be in that 50 range, and last few years doing a lot of recruiting. There's some kids, whether they don't think that they're going to be playing, it usually isn't the case. Some are just kind of getting wore down. A lot of football from growing up from youth now, and I'm finding some of that the wear and tear gets to them. But our numbers are good. 46, I think the first year I started 2017. There was at one point, one of those first years or second year, we only had about 23 kids out. Maybe it was the third year. It was really dropping and really getting low. Getting out there and recruiting, and we do have a number of kids right now that maybe didn't go through our youth programs. And that's where I'm talking to kids in junior high and freshmen and letting them know that it's okay. They can build up in football and step up and be a productive football player even though they're not behind. Trying to convince them that they're not too far behind because they didn't start in 3rd or 4th grade. So really hitting the hallways to be able to talk to some of these kids and then train and really want to have an inclusive program, and that's a word we use a lot to keep our numbers up. We want to include everybody, and it's worked out.
How does the offense change a bit this year with Peyton at quarterback?
Well, it's kind of best way to put it is we want to be able to use him as a real weapon as far as his feet and his quickness, and we have some really nice athletes on the perimeter, and then also a strong running back in Nathan Van Wy. So, given a game plan too early, I guess I think a few teams might figure it out in a while. We're gonna really try to utilize that run first and get the play action and pass when we want to. Don't have to necessarily be in a situation where we pass because we need to. And that's always been a successful recipe in high school football anyhow. So.
You're listening to our high school football coaches program on Sports Radio 92.3 FM, WOSQ, Spencer Marshfield, and WOSQFM.com, as well as ZaleskiSports.com. With Larry Hazer and Delia Kaitis, I'm Gene Delisio at Nuts Deep 2 on South Central Avenue in Marshfield, talking with area high school football coaches about the 2025 season. By the way, Coach, I noticed the last 4 years, your ball club 37-9, which is a very outstanding record. Tell us about how you've maintained that success now in recent seasons.
I think we are blessed with having some nice athletes. I encourage the weight room, and that's something that you go to any clinic, you go down to the state clinic, and you see a success story in high school football, and the first thing they'll talk about is the weight room. So we do have a good percentage of our athletes that are training, and 3-sport athletes, if they're not, they're in the weight room and utilizing the summertime. So that's a big thing, and I think. I don't know that's a really nice record, and of course we always want a little bit more and like to go a little bit further, and that's what you think about and how to do that and what do we need to do to keep going. And some of those things, have eluded us as far as some of those playoff wins and a little bit further, but that is a nice record, and I have to give a lot of credit to our athletes and locked into football and being competitive. But I think it really is around just having these kids try to encourage them to be prepared, encourage them to be competitive. We bring that up a lot, being competitive. A lot of kids just play. We want to compete. And just using that message and encouraging the weight room and commitment to football.
Larry, any questions you have for Coach Anderson?
Just a quick one here for you. You have Edgar coming up, the 3rd game of the season, Spencer, Columbus, and Marathon before that. What are some things you're going to key on in those 2 games to get ready possibly for Edgar?
Really just think about Friday. To be honest with you, there isn't anything like that yet. We still have to find out who we are, I think, for Friday night. I read somewhere we lost, I really did think about, we lost 8 first-team all-conference positions. We have a couple of kids that took care of 6 of them, but those positions, being filled and trying to find out how effectively we can. So still trying to figure that out. I haven't gotten to that first playoff game, week 3 yet. Haven't thought about that at all. And really focusing on that one at a time. But I think if we go week by week and start looking ahead, I think our success is going to come with how physical, up front, both sides of the ball. We have to find out how physical and pride in performance. We're going to find out if our kids have that, and that's what we're going to always encourage. So week to week, that's something we're going to talk about, and I think if we can find ourselves sooner, and we'll be a nice team if we can get that taken care of. And I'm not thinking about defending state champion Edgar Wildcats yet. I'm still working on this Friday night.
All right, Coach. Fair enough.
That's Auburndale High School football coach Jay Anderson. Once again, the Eagles open their schedule Friday night at home against Spencer Columbus. Coach, good luck in that ball game and throughout the season.
Thank you very much. Happy to be here.
Auburndale High School football coach Jay Anderson with us on our high school football coaches program tonight from Nuts Deep 2 in Marshfield. Abbotsford football coach Jake Knapmiller standing by. He'll join us in just a few moments, so please stay tuned.
Good day. My name is Ken Hyman, and welcome to Nasonville Dairy here in central Wisconsin, Marshfield, Wisconsin, as a matter of fact. We make a lot of different cheeses. We make cheddar, Colby, Monterey, Farmer's Cheese, Peach Cheese, Quesa Blanca, Quesa de Freer, Seco, Parm, Romano, Asiago, Fontina, Feta Caseri, Caflatiri, Cafla Graviera, 20 different flavors of Monterey, as well as making Edam, Gouda, and Munster. And the cheese be with you.
Nuts Deep 2, a Marshfield favorite for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Soup, salad, pizza, omelets, sandwiches, wraps, and burgers. How about appetizers like loaded tots and super nuts nachos? 14 large TVs to watch all your favorite games. Plus, entertainment and event space for groups large and small for your upcoming parties. Nuts Deep 2 again, awarded Best Burgers and Fish Fry in Marshfield. Nuts Deep 2 on South Central Avenue in Marshfield and Nuts Deep 2 North in Spencer.
At Ridgetop, we are your trusted local affordable exterior renovations expert. Isn't that right, Bo?
Exactly, especially when we are working on someone's biggest investment.
Can you give us an example, Bo?
Well, there was this house. We replaced the roofing, siding, and windows. Then they left a 5-star review.
One of our thousands of 5-star reviews?
Exactly.
For your free, no obligation estimate, call us today or go to ridgetopexteriors.com.
Are you ready to give your kids a head start on smart money habits? With Abbey Bank's Bright Future Checking, kids and teens can learn to manage money with you right by their side. They get their own debit card, and you can keep an eye on spending with easy-to-use mobile banking and card controls. The Bright Future Checking account has no fees, no minimum balance, and kids get a bonus after the first deposit is made. Give your child the power of independence. Stop in or visit abbeybank.com to get started. Abbey Bank is member FDIC.
At Nuts Deep 2 on South Central Avenue in Marshfield. Our next guest is the successful football coach at Abbotsford High School, Jake Knapmiller. Coach, thanks for coming by and welcome to our program.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Well, let's talk about preseason for Abbotsford football. Your ball club 8-4 a year ago, another good season for Abbotsford football. Tell us how things look for this year.
We returned a lot of players from a pretty successful level 2 team last year. We lost level 2 by 1 to Coleman, but a lot of guys with experience coming back on both sides of the ball, and I think after our scrimmage, we felt pretty good about how fast we were playing, and we made some mistakes in our scrimmage, but the speed, you want to see your kids confident and playing fast, and I thought we came away from the scrimmage and going into our week of practice feeling good about it. You never feel great, you never feel like you always make mistakes, but we feel like we're in a pretty good spot compared to years past.
You know, Coach, when you talk about playing fast, I think some of our listeners might think just a lot of fast guys, but there's more to it than that. Explain what you mean by playing fast football.
Sure. I think a lot of what playing fast is understanding what you're doing, being able to react to situations that aren't in your control, but being prepared for what you might see. So in our case, our kids have rules offensively and defensively. They have keys. If you don't have a key or a rule or you don't follow that, you're just reacting to everything. And so to narrow it down to maybe 2 reactions versus a whole plethora of reactions on a football field makes a kid be able to play fast. Our issue in Abbotsford is a lot of our kids aren't true football kids coming from football families. We have a lot of kids coming from immigrant families that soccer was their number 1 sport or whatever, and they don't watch the game of football. And I think that's a lot of places. But those kids just don't, you don't line them up and say, okay, here's a left tackle, line up and go, get hands on him. You have to explain the whole system to them, make it really simple so they have one thing to do and then react to that one thing.
How do you get those kids out the way you've got a very successful program, getting some of those kids out in your program?
Our numbers are really good this year, and I think a lot of that has to do with our kids selling the program themselves. So if your kids are walking the school hallways and being proud about what they're doing and being excited to be a Falcon, I think that's as big a sales as anything. Part of what this year's numbers, I think, were we had a few sophomore basketball players that didn't play last year that should have as freshmen. And our D coordinator happens to be the head basketball coach. And so having other programs being on board with and being supportive of multi-sport athletes, I think, is a huge thing in Abbotsford as well.
Well, tell us about some of the young men on your ball club this year and their roles on this team.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll start on the defensive side. A lot of our kids play both ways, so you'll hear names on both sides of the ball. But we lost some really good defensive linemen up front. We replaced them with some guys with experience. So Julian Aguilera at defensive end, and his replacement is Josue Zinzun, a sophomore, who it has a motor on him, and we expect to be kind of a guy that will affect the pass and the pass rusher situation. Our seniors are Angel Zinzun and Marcus Van Leuven up front, both big kids. Marcus Van Leuven's 6'4", I think 260, thrower for the track program, sprinted in the track program. He did a lot of those things that we expect him to do as an athlete. And so I look for him to be really good. Outside backers are Irvin Aguilera and Luis Lujan, both. One is a junior, one is a senior, so both upperclassmen and both physical athletes. Our inside backers are Jesus Reyes, a junior, and Nathan Duclo, a first-year starter. And then our defensive backfield is really experienced. Christian Fuentes at safety, who really likes to hit. He's an alley filler. He's had some big ones already in our scrimmage this year that we're looking forward to seeing him run and hit. And then Chase Bowler, who is an exceptional athlete on our edge, and Carter Seelar is our other corner, who's a junior, and all those guys can run and hit.
And how's the offense look?
Offense has a similar system to last year. I guess our biggest change is our quarterback of 2 years, Irvin Aguilera, who was, I think, our leading rusher in 4 or 5 games last year, is moving to tight end. A small school problem. One of our tight ends, we have some eligibility issues, who a guy probably would have started cannot play, and Irvin was our next best option. So he goes from a 3-year starter quarterback to tight end because he's a team guy, and he wants us to be successful and knows that's his role, what I think is really cool. So Christian Fuentes, our leading rusher, is going to quarterback, and we're going to try to use him from that position this year. So replacing him in the backfield would be Jackson Pluckerman, a junior. Carter Seelar is going to get some action, another junior running back, and then Chase Bowler plays our wing in the backfield. Our tight ends are Irvin Aguilera, who I spoke about earlier, and Luis Lujan, a junior on the other side. And then up front is the same guys on the defensive line as are on our offensive line. Josue Zinzun, Landon Auberg, Julian Aguilera, the same names that I named, Marcus Van Leuven, are up front. So we have a lot of two-way players, but we also expect a lot of our juniors and sophomores to fill in for those guys throughout the year as well.
I assume you're running about the same system as you've run in recent years?
Yeah, offensively, we're going to run a shotgun wing system where we double team. We try to be physical at the point of attack, try to double team, kick out, pull guys from the backside and get them up the hole, and use our athleticism in a small space. So we feel like we might not match up athletically against some of the top teams, the Edgars, the Auburndales, the teams in playoffs that we see all the way across the board. So if we can put them in a space confined and use our physicality and quickness and some scheme to it, we think we'll have an advantage offensively.
All right. Larry, any questions you have for Coach Knapmiller?
How important is it for a school like Abbotsford to have 3 sport athletes? And when it comes to football, I mean, a lot of times you see guys that specialize in sports.
I think we're seeing more of that, as not in Abbotsford necessarily, but I think a lot of other places. And in Abbotsford, I think part of it is, as I mentioned, I'm the track coach as well, and Coach Rao, our D coordinator, is our head basketball coach. So I think these kids go into 3 sports with kind of being on the same page with other coaches. Our baseball coach, Coach Nelson. Actually, Christian Fuentes, our running back, was a track guy, and this year he decided he was going to dual sport, and he played baseball as his number 1, but then still ran track and went to state in the long jump. But I think it takes cohesiveness as a group of coaches to say we want these kids to be successful, have opportunities, and we think they're going to be better athletes for our sport if they do other sports as well.
Because sometimes I know Abbotsford baseball has been good. And sometimes being good in other sports translates to other sports. Yeah, like if you're good in baseball, kids see that and then want to maybe transition that to football, to basketball.
Yeah, I think it's your skill set that you learn different skill sets along the way.
Right.
So the whole study behind specializing in a sport is you're using the same muscle, the same reaction, the same cognitive abilities, but you're never going outside of that, and so just the training variation is huge.
Yeah. Okay. What about that Merriwood CWC? I know Dale Eukitis was telling me that he never liked that question asked to him about.
I was listening conference on the way down to that one. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But I mean, it's a tough conference.
It is. Yeah, so we used to be in the Clover Wood where you were Gilman, and it was 9 conference games, and you felt like 7 of them were conference championship games, and that was a little smaller school football, a little different but similar idea. In this, you have a couple perennial level 4, level 3 playoff teams that you know you're going to go against at some point. We just happen to have Auburndale and Edgar at the end of our schedule this year, our conference schedule. We have Iola in our first conference game, and in week 3, followed by our following our non-conference schedule. So.
But that's got to help you as far as getting ready for the playoffs, if you make it to the playoffs, playing in a conference like this.
Yeah, I think so. I think the top teams are going to be state contenders, and this year we have to get through Auburndale or Edgar both to get. Be in a state title. Those guys are both in Division 6, and you get through them once, and you have to see them again. So it is what it is. But I think our kids look forward to that challenge and are confident about where we're at. A lot of things can happen throughout the season by week 7 and week 9 when we play them.
All right, Gene.
Coach, I want to ask you, looking at your record, you have had 1 sub-500 season since 2013. So your team has been very strong over the years. In fact, that 1 sub-500 year, 2022, you were 4-5, so you're pretty close. Tell us about the long-term success you've had. How have you maintained that in recent years?
Yeah, I guess personally, I believe that I think a lot of kids believe in our system and believe that we're different than everybody, whether we are or not. I think our identity is toughness. So I think programs with identity sometimes have longevity. So Edgar has definitely identity if you watch them play. They're confident. They have swag. Those guys walk on the field thinking they're going to win football games. Owen Withy had an identity when we played them. They're going to grind you out. They're going to let you run 3 plays a quarter because they milk the clock, and that was their identity. And I think our kids, we have to be quick. We're not going to be big, and we have to be tough. And those are things that I think when you take pride in something and being different at something, I think that's part of it for us. Part of it is, too, I think my coaching staff are all former players. I think I heard Coach Goettl talk about that with Marshfield and on the way down in a prior interview. But I have Garrett Rao, who's my D coordinator. He was a quarterback in what was the first year? We were 7-2, I think, was the 2013. Is that what you said, Gene? Was the first year, I think?
You were 2-7 in 2013.
Okay, it was the year after that.
8-3 the next year.
Yep, that was so Garrett Rao was our quarterback in that year, and Adam Seafluth is on my staff. Was a running back, 1,000-yard kid, and Keith Callip is another guy on staff. And then all my volunteers are also former players. So the idea of being a Falcon and the identity of that is just, I think, soaked into our community and our school.
All right, well, Coach, we appreciate you coming by. Once again, the Abbotsford Falcons open their schedule on Friday night, playing Loyal Greenwood at Abbotsford. Coach, good luck in that ball game and throughout the season.
Thank you.
That's Abbotsford High School football coach Jake Knapmiller joining us on our high school football coaches program here at Nuts Deep 2 in Marshfield. Spencer Columbus football coach Jason Gorst joins us as our next guest following these messages.
Wondering what to feed your team after work, the game, or this weekend? Chips Hamburgers in Marshfield has tasty char-broiled burgers for any hungry appetite. From the classic hamburger to the famous Chips Champ and everything in between. Check out our daily specials. Stop inside to enjoy your meal with comfortable seating. See Chips' complete menu of burgers, hot ham and cheese, hot beef, chicken and fish, fries, rings, curds, and ice cream, all served year-round. In a hurry? Same great menu in the drive-thru. Chips Hamburgers in Marshfield. Be a champ and have a chipperific day.
At the Granite Shop, we take great pride in what we do. We offer high-quality natural stone granite as well as a huge selection of man-made stone. With full slabs as well as a variety of partial remnants, you'll have no problem finding the stone that was meant for you. Our high-end, high-quality granite, quartz, and marble is perfect for any kitchen, bathroom, or remodel need. We are locally owned and operated on County Road C near Stratford. We service all of Wisconsin.
What do you like most about Columbus Catholic Schools?
Amazing teachers, because they're funny and nice.
It's the small classroom sizes.
Because it teaches us to be kind.
We invite you to check out Columbus Catholic Schools and see for yourself why our students like it here. That if you really want your student to attend Columbus Catholic Schools, we will work with you as much as possible to make that reality. Contact us at 715-387-1177 or admissions@columbusdons.org for more information.
With smart thinking about things like, to prevent scalding water, heaters should be set no higher than 120 degrees. Always dry your... Stay away from...
You don't want to go over that too, Mark.
You're listening to our high school football coaches program from Nuts Deep 2 on South Central Avenue in Marshfield. With Larry Hazer, I'm Gene Delisio back with you once again. And our next guest is Spencer Columbus football coach Jason Gorst, now in his 15th season as the Rockets head football coach. Coach, thanks for coming by and welcome to our program for this evening.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I always look forward to this every year.
I'm glad to have you, and tell us about your preseason, how things look for the Rockets football team this season.
I think we're continuing to improve. I've been very happy with the effort of our guys. I thought we had a nice off-season in the weight room and competing in other sports. I think that they've been working very hard in practice. They've been a very coachable, enjoyable group to work with. Just a lot of positive attitudes, great work ethic, getting after it every day, pushing themselves to become better. So, we're cautiously optimistic. We feel good overall about things, but we know that there's a lot of work ahead of us yet. We know we have a very tough schedule, and games are won and lost on Friday nights. So we have to just continue to prepare and get better each and every week.
You've had a few down years now in recent seasons. How has that affected the way you approach this season?
I think the key for us right now is we really are just continuing to focus 1 week at a time, not look at the big picture too much, but really look at, tonight was, first, tackle practice of the week, and one day's usually a little bit later, preparing for Auburndale, and that's just all of our focus right now is on Auburndale in week 1.
Well, tell us about your ball club this year, how things shake out for this season.
Yeah, we have a nice senior group that's played a lot of varsity football through the years here. So Caleb Hilgeman has a lot of experience. He's doing a nice job as both a wide receiver and outside linebacker. Mason Deeringer, defensive tackle, fullback type. Matt Konieczny is doing all different types of things. Great D-back. He's been a great receiver. He's been repping at QB some here for us. Sam Helgestad's had a fantastic offseason and really preparing well. He's moving from the offensive line to the tight end position. Davis Videdge is just one of those kids that you can always count on. Plays real tough both sides of the ball. Clay Neiman, excellent tackler as a safety. And then Devlin Timler has a ton of experience as a quarterback. So he's had to miss a little time early as he is doing something very honorable and serving his country, and he's in basic training. We'll be getting him back in the state this week here, but he's not been able to be there for some reps, but again for such an honorable cause, hats off to him for that. And Max stepped in and taken some reps, and now we feel that going into the year we're going to have two quarterbacks that can play good varsity football.
How about your defense? How's that look this year?
Defensively, I think we're very much improved in the box. I really like our interior defense a lot. Overall, I think that we seem to be the scrimmage went well. I thought we were a sound tackling team overall. And a physical football team, which is something you always try to gauge in a scrimmage. So we were happy to come out of that day with not a lot of injuries. We had a couple of younger guys get a little dinged up, but overall very happy with the performance there and just the physicality of the day.
Anything in particular about this ball club that you think is a strength this year?
I think balance would be the key word overall. I don't know if there's any one thing that's a great strength, but I also am not sure that there's any one thing that's a great weakness. I think offensively we'll be able to run and pass the ball and well balance. Last year we had some pretty decent balance in what we were able to do. And then same thing defensively. I think that we've got some nice athletes in the defensive backfield. We'll create a good pass rush, but I think balance is one of the key words that stands out. And then overall just real impressed with the character of these guys and the way they conduct themselves on a daily basis.
You mentioned Devlin Timler playing quarterback for you back once again this year. Tell us about the skills he has that he brings to that position.
He's got a great arm, very accurate, great knowledge of the game, knowledge of the offense, just a real smart football player and a lot of experience. He's been, starting since the tail end of his freshman year, and then started the last couple of years. So he's had a lot of reps and a lot of experience.
Let's bring in Larry Hazer for some questions and comments. Larry?
First of all, I can't believe it's 15 years that you've been the head coach for Spencer Columbus.
Right.
Wow. Spencer Columbus, you've had that co-op here now for a number of years.
Yep.
How has that helped your numbers as far as football players?
It's been very good. I mean, it does a few things. I think, it helps us to have numbers to, whether it was at a time period where, 3 levels of football was kind of, popular, we're able to do that, or now you see a lot more varsity JV where we're able to solidly do that with numbers in the mid-40s. So I think it allows us as small schools to be able to stay in 11-man football and continue on very solid in that. And then I think it also just creates, great opportunities for guys to come together. It is a unique co-op, but overall it's been a successful one, and seeing the kind of brotherhood is talked about, that term, the SC brotherhood's talked about quite a bit, seeing some of the relationships that are really, lifelong relationships that guys form. I always get asked the question, well, how many Columbus kids do you have? And I usually don't know the answer to that until we go down to the Columbus pep rally and I have to count the Spencer kids on the bus because there's such a blend. There's a blend. And so it's not that you're seeing, there's this many. I mean, we get solid numbers from both schools. And like I say, when we go down for that pep rally, well, then I'll have to take some time and count to make sure, we got everybody. But other than that, we don't pay much attention to it once we step foot on that football field. We're all together.
What about coaching as far as this co-op? I mean, you get a mix of guys from both schools, or?
Yeah, we've always strived to have a mix. So our defensive coordinator, Eric Stratman, is a Columbus, person. He's, he had kids that went through there, and he's coached for them for youth football and whatnot. He was the president of their, booster club for a long time. Luke Hilgeman is our offensive and defensive line coach. He's got a history. His kids go to Columbus and a history there, and he's coached middle school football for us. And then this year we added Jared Mandel into the staff, so he is our former quarterback. It was a very, very good quarterback from us. He's a Columbus grad, excellent athlete overall. He's been coaching some middle school for us, now moving up to high school. And on the Spencer side, we have Andy Hogden and Sam Bookberger are a couple of teachers, math and business for us. So we do have a balance between the two
And I've always wanted that, and for the most part, we've always been able to keep that, and especially at the middle school level, I really think it's important to try to keep familiar faces there. Sometimes that's the first time when we co-op. Youth football is done separate. 7th grade's the first time we co-op. So I've always wanted to have guys that are familiar to all the kids, from both sides, just to have that continuity.
Coming into the season now, what are you going to see as the keys for your success, especially early on here?
I think the keys for us is just, learning how to win football games, and string wins together. And it's I think we're capable of very good plays, offense and defense. We need to demonstrate that we're capable of stringing those together, stringing good plays together to get first downs, to get touchdowns, stringing defensive stops together to get the ball back, those sorts of things. So I think it's just that consistency piece of it. That's the thing that stands out to me the most is we need to be consistent with everything we do in order. A football game's a long game, and there's adversity that comes up in any football game. There are bad plays. The best team in the world will have bad plays in a football game. How do you respond to that adversity? So that's the test. I think these guys are up for it. I'm excited to see it.
All right, Gene.
Spencer Columbus football coach Jason Gorst with us, and Rockets open their schedule Friday night at Auburndale. Tough opener for your ball club, Coach.
Yeah, they're a very good football team. We played them last year, week 1. I think it's a nice non-conference game in the sense of I like the distance. I like being somewhat local here. We have a lot of respect for them. They're a well-coached team, very good football program. So a big test for us right off the bat. They lost some good players, but they're also bringing a lot back. I think they have some real nice offensive linemen up front, a real good running back, athletic quarterback, and like I say, they're well coached. They're in the right position. So we know we have our work cut out for us week 1.
Well, Coach, good luck in that ball game and throughout the season.
All right, thank you much.
Spencer Columbus football coach Jason Gorst with us on our high school football coaches program from Nuts Deep 2 on South Central Avenue in Marshfield. Stratford coach Marshall Lehman joins us next, so please stay with us.
Looking to buy flooring today? Shop R&R Flooring and Furniture. We have more flooring in stock and ready to go than the big box stores. Over 250,000 square feet.
That's right, over 250,000 square feet of luxury vinyl planking carpet in over 150 colors.
R&R guarantees you will find what you're looking for at a price you won't find anywhere else.
Grab your new floor today or schedule an installation.
When it comes to flooring, furniture, and mattresses,
it's easy.
Come to R&R Flooring and Furniture today. That's all it takes.
A&B Process Systems has been a proud member of the Stratford community since 1973. You can find your next career in engineering, welding, and more at A&B Process Systems. Our campus also includes our exclusive Factory Acceptance Testing Center with full-service testing capabilities to ensure that your equipment will perform to your expectations. Visit A&B Process Systems on Facebook today for more information. Cropping Central, conveniently located between Edgar and Stratford on County Road N, 715-352-2843. Let Cropping Central take care of your field plans, yield mapping, crop scouting, and crop protection, including hail insurance. Cropping Central, 715-352-2843, and visit them on County Road N, west of Edgar.
Take your education out of the classroom and give new spaces a spin. Wherever you are, North Central Technical College is there with flexible learning options, including rolling start dates and 100% online classes. Earn your degree around your life.
From Nuts Deep 2 on South Central Avenue in Marshfield, our next guest is the new head football coach at Stratford High School, Marshall Lehman, who, a lot of times you talk to a new coach, you say, hey, coach, your team's won 3 games in the last 29 years, and you have a real tough rebuilding job, but not for Coach Lehman. His Stratford program has won state championships last few years under Coach Jason Tubbs, and now he walks in trying to maintain a good level of success in the Stratford program. Coach, thanks for coming by. Welcome to our program.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Well, tell us about the adjustment for you taking over as the Stratford Tiger football coach this season.
Well, been around the program for a while now and been in the school district and know a lot of the kids, so the transition has been pretty smooth. Coach Jason Tubbs is still around. He shows up once in a while, so you have him to talk to a little bit. But the kids understand what I expect out of them, being that I've coached quite a few of them in baseball as well when I was the head coach there. So I think the transition's been pretty good. There's a lot of growing pains still because you're running a lot bigger program compared to a baseball team. But it's been a lot of fun so far.
I would assume that with the success Stratford's had, you're not making a whole lot of wholesale changes, but are there some nuances, some different approaches you're using for your program this season?
Yeah, that's a good question. Not a whole lot. I'm still coaching the defense, moved from a D coordinator to the head coach. I'm still doing the D coordinating though. And our offense is still the same. Greg Belter does a great job with our offense, and he's still running that. I've been talking to people about this, but coming into it, it's been more just who I am and my character of who I am, and trying to grow that side of it with these young athletes, these young men, and just kind of build their character side of it. That's some of the stuff I've added to practice, and just emphasizing all three levels, your offense and your defense, and then really hammering our special teams a little bit more than maybe we have in the past. But other than that, it's the same old Stratford, being consistent. We preach that every day and do what we do to fight for our goals that we have every single year.
You have served as a Stratford baseball coach in recent years. How has that experience as a head coach, even though another sport, help you in this transition?
It definitely helps. Just for a lot of the parents and stuff in the school district kind of understanding where I come from and who I am as a person, who I am as a coach, that helps. And then all your behind-the-scenes stuff, working with your AD and your administration on organizing and planning stuff, being around that for a while, it made coming into this a lot easier, definitely.
Well, tell us about the preseason for your Stratford program, how things have looked.
I'd say pretty darn good. We've got 16 seniors. May not have had a lot of returning starters on the varsity, but 16 seniors who have been around the program for a long time. When you make it to state 3 years in a row, you add that up, it's 15 more games that they've played than some teams have. So they're mature and they're ready to play. So they've been leading the team really well and responding to the coaches really well. And our scrimmage went good. We stayed healthy through that. So it's been a good, I guess you want to call it fall camp.
Well, tell us about some of your key returners this year and where they fit in. So,
we have Brooks Vanderhoof, who was a key player on our defense last year. We got him. He's moving kind of more of our free safety, communicating spot on the defense. We're excited to have him back there, as well as Drew Gage on the defense. He was a good D lineman for us as well. So those kind of guys on the backside, the defensive side of things back, with a good amount of seniors, though, stepping into some of those vacant roles. On the offensive side of the ball, Colton Bright is a very talented receiver. He also played, I guess, corner for us last year as well, too. A very talented receiver on offense. We're excited to see what he's going to be able to do in the offense, as well as Drew Gage and Jager Orman on the offensive line. They've kind of anchored that group, but then brought on some of their senior buddies, if you want to call them that, which is always a good thing because they communicate well, that are kind of running that line with them. So it's exciting. Senior quarterback as well as Brady Berg. We're going to be starting him week 1 here at quarterback, and he's been around the program. I had him as a catcher in baseball, so I think he's ready for that role as well, too.
How about some newcomers making a name for themselves so far?
Yeah, I've been really impressed with Jack Remus. He's a senior who's very athletic, but is growing a lot over the last year and a half. And, we got him on the O-line and as well as a linebacker on defense. He's really impressed us this spring and really showing what he's got. Lucas Forrest as well, kind of on both sides of the ball. He really showed himself in 7-on-7 this summer, and he's really stepped up. So we're excited to see he's a wrestling kid who's just a tough-nosed kid. So he's another one, as well as Cody Randall. We're excited about, too. He's a linebacker, offensive line kid, that we're excited to see what he can do.
I would imagine some fans are saying, I wonder if there's going to be any changes in what they do offensively or defensively, but you're going to maintain your hold on the defense. Greg Bilter's back to call plays on the offense, so probably not many changes in that regard.
Yeah, for anybody who comes to watch games or on Zaleski Sports or anything, or listen to the radio, it's going to be Stratford football. Our offense and our defense is going to be run the same. You always change things for the teams you have to play against based on revolving door offenses and new stuff that comes out every single year, and that's our job as coaches to kind of put those guys in those right spots. But yeah, we're going to be the same Stratford team that people have been used to.
Well, once again this year, if you watch Stratford football on ZaleskiSports.com, the announcer for those games will be the renowned Mike Steinwagner, who's going to join us on our program once again. Mike, welcome to our program. Anything you have for Coach Lehman?
Yeah, Marshall, again, congratulations as becoming head coach. And I know we were talking before, and the winning attitude of Stratford over the years. I mean, of course, 3 consecutive championships, 10 total, which is the top in the state of any team in the state of Wisconsin. But you go back to the baseball, and also you grew up on championship teams, as an Edgar product, and of course Jerry Sins as a mentor, and that great winning attitude that you have to bring to this program.
Yeah, I'm very fortunate, and I thank God that He put me in situations I got to be in and get to be coached by who I was coached by in all aspects of growing up in high school and college and then all my coaching so far in the last about 15, 16 years. I got to work with a lot of people on the baseball side of things that are Hall of Famers, as well as the football side of it. And so I've got to bring both sides to it, and kind of sometimes in baseball you coach different than you do in football, and being part of those for a while. I've been also coaching my daughter's third grade basketball teams and the 10U softball team. So you got to change with the athletes that you're working with, and I think that's been a huge growth of mine lately, is just knowing and learning a little bit about everybody and how they all got to be coached differently, but then bring in just a championship mentality. We speak on that every day at practice. What is championship mentality, right? And that I got from Coach Jerry Sins and from Larry Villiard, who coached Hall of Fame baseball coach, and Bruce, and just all the people that I've worked in between. So I've worked under some great coaches, and Brad Gruby, who's a very transparent guy, and just sharing everything, that the knowledge of just, you got to share that with your athletes. They have to know what you're thinking and how they're feeling, and they feel more like they want to play for you when you do that kind of stuff. So I'm just extremely lucky to be able to work with the people that I work with, and I love my coaching staff that we've been working with now, leading them this year, but I've been with them for a long time, and they're a great staff. So, in
fact, you brought up the coaching staff. Tell us a little bit about your coaching staff. It's actually the backbone of Stratford football. Yep. And so tell us a little bit about your coaching staff that you have.
Yeah, so our offensive coordinator is Greg Belter, an alumnus from Stratford, and I just love working with him because he's got a mindset for just always trying to add new stuff. He's always talking to coaches around the state and in other states about the offense that we run and how can we add wrinkles and make it better, and the defenses do this, so how can we fix that for next year, and just charting the whole last season stuff. Like, he puts tons of time in it. The kids love him. I just can't say enough about the guy, so I'm enjoying working with him. Ryan Bloom, who's been on our staff for the longest than any of us. I think it's around that 30-year mark. He's been there for a long time. And, he just understands Stratford football. So just bringing back, the things that we did in the past. We did this, we did that. Because you have to use the past and the history as part of what Stratford football is. So he does a lot of that and works with our special teams a lot, coordinating a lot of that stuff. So I love working with him. I coached with him with baseball as well. Kellen Kufka, another graduate from Stratford, runs our O-line and D-line. Very knowledgeable guy in that area. Very good in terms of like that character leadership role. He likes to do that. So he's stepped up and kind of helping me too as well with kind of like the behind the scenes head coaching stuff with me doing the defensive side of it as well. So I appreciate what he's been doing there. We got my brother Blake Lehman, who does the receivers and the defense backs. Extremely knowledgeable, big health, fitness kind of guy. So he really helps us with our off-season strength and training and our nutrition stuff as well there. And we have Tanner Schlender, who came on. He actually his dad was a pretty darn successful coach in football for a while, and he's helping us with our quarterbacks and our DBs. And then Chris Berg, who came over from Marshfield, very well-rounded in a lot of areas, and he's been a head coach before too, so having him kind of on staff. And he does a fantastic job with our O-line and our linebackers, and just the knowledge he's brought from Marshfield to here, and just adding more of that in. And, he's willing to, again, he'll sit down with you after practice. Hey, don't forget about this or these things, which is what you need to have when you're new in the first year. So, yeah, full staff, a lot of guys, and very impressed with what they've been doing this year with us.
Okay. And I know you got Mosinee coming up this Friday. And, of course, the big thing is trying to stop Stoffel. He was their main offense last year as he passed for over 2,100 yards last year. He was the leading rusher with 683. So he's pretty much the main man. They do have their number 1, 2, and 3 rushers back, but it didn't really amount of a lot of yards, but it was mostly Stoffel that you had to stop. So you're going to have to try to stop him this Friday night. Yeah.
So, in a football game, you got, like I said, you got offense, you got defense, you got special teams, and you got to be good in all three to be a successful championship-type team. So that's what we've been focusing a lot of it on. In terms of Mosinee in week 1, both teams, you got to be ready for the year. There's a lot of stuff to put in. How much do you get in? That has to do with how many guys you got back. So their offense, they're bringing their quarterback back. They're bringing some guys on their offense back. They're probably ahead of the game a little bit in terms of what they're running because they have that. We got a lot of newcomers coming in, so sometimes it takes a little more time to put stuff in. So that'll be interesting to see how that plays out on Friday for sure. But, he's definitely a guy that we have to key on. We got to key on him running the ball, staying in the pocket, passing the ball. He's a good passer. So you gotta figure out how you want to handle that. And they run an offense that we've, as a D coordinator at least, we've been around it for quite a while and usually kind of know what the other team wants to do, and they're looking to read what you're trying to do to them. So you got to have some wrinkles in there to hopefully try to. We always say as coaches, you're trying to confuse the other players on the team, not the other coaching staff, because they're probably pretty smart. So you try to find ways to mess up what their team's doing out there as in the players, because they're a bunch of 17 and 18-year-olds. Can you make that happen or not? And it'll be tough. We definitely got our hands full, but we're excited about it.
And I know their top receiver, Logan, is back also, so he's got somebody to throw to also. Yep. And I know we were talking before we started this interview, but you are the 7th head coach in Stratford history, and of course you got 3 Hall of Famers amongst that, possibly 4, because I feel Jason Tubbs winning 3 conference championships. He's got almost an 80% winning percentage.
Yep, I would agree.
So no doubt, but I wish you and the Stratford Tigers the best of luck this year, and
Thank you.
and actually, as I'm going to start the game where it's the ending of an era of Jason Tubbs and Jack Tubbs going into the West, and coming up in the East is the Marshall Lehman era. So good luck the rest of the season, and we'll see you all season long. Gene?
All right, thank you.
Before we sign off, you mentioned Coach Schlender. Would that be Jeff Schlender's son?
Yeah.
That I'll tell you, I am so old, and almost older than Mike.
Hey, thanks, Gene.
I still remember Jeff Schlender coaching not football but basketball at Pittsville.
Okay.
Back sometime in the 90s. That's how he began his career. Then went other places to coach football, did a great job there.
Yeah.
But Jeff Schlender, that's the name that goes way, way back in Central Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Coach, thanks for coming by again. Once again, your ball club plays at Mosinee on Friday night. Good luck in that ball game throughout the season.
Thank you.
That's Stratford Tiger football coach Marshall Lehman joining us on our high school football coaches program here at Nuts Deep 2 on South Central Avenue in Marshfield. Loyal Greenwood football coach Chris Lindner will join us and talk about Greyhounds football following these messages.
We know how a bank should be at Partners Bank. Banking should be easier. Treating our customers as valued and important. Services should be better with online and mobile banking and locations close to where you live and work. Loans should be quicker, and we make all decisions locally with years of experience helping people with their financing needs. Partners Bank, member FDIC, and an equal housing lender.
Partners Bank, better together.
From humble beginnings in 1904, the Wheatrick family has grown Grassland Dairy Products into one of the largest processors of butter in the nation. Based in Greenwood, Wisconsin, the family and its hundreds of employees continue their pursuit of providing high-quality products that can proudly be served in restaurants and homes across America.
After a couple years of this, it's time for more money, more opportunity. That's where Midstate Technical College comes in. Got a passion for helping people? Maybe you like cars. Are you into science? Are you good with computers? No matter your path, we've got cutting-edge classes with field-trained professionals and better tuition options. Stop getting by and level up today.
When you want a dealer who has it all, you want Courtesy Auto and Truck Center in Stanley. We offer a wide selection of new Fords and pre-owned vehicles at payments to fit any budget. Plus, our finance experts specialize in getting you the best loan possible. In addition, our highly trained service technicians work with state-of-the-art equipment to make sure your vehicle is fixed right. We pride ourselves on unmatched customer service before, during, and after the sale at Courtesy Auto and Truck Center in Stanley.
Please stay with us for our high school football coaches program tonight from Nuts Deep 2 on South Central Avenue in Marshfield. Our next guest is the football coach at the Loyal Greenwood program, Chris Lindner, who I believe is starting his 30th season as Loyal High School football coach. Coach, congratulations on the great success you've had over the years, and welcome to our program this evening.
Well, thank you, Gene. Glad I could make it, and it's always an honor to be here with you guys.
Well, I'm going to have you with us. Tell us about your preseason, how things have looked so far for the Loyal Greenwood program.
It is going all right. Down a little bit on numbers. We had about 45 or 50 last year, and we are about mid-30s to 40. So with that, we have our upperclassmen are the ones that we need out, and we had the majority come back. So we're missing some young guys that we were expecting out, and some freshmen that didn't come out. So that's what we have, and we'll go to battle with what we have. So they're working well and starting to gel. So it kind of messed up a little bit on our Saturday scrimmage, where we really didn't have a scrimmage because of weather, and we did get to have a little bit of little practice time with Neilsville. So it was nice to at least hit someone else for 2 weeks. You know what I mean? We've been hitting ourselves. So it was nice to see a little bit of something in someone else. So, things are going okay. We have every day we need to improve. We need to take steps forward and not backwards. So with that focus, that's what we're working on.
Tell us about the co-op situation now, another year co-oping between Loyal and Greenwood. How is that working out?
Beautiful, I think. Greenwood has about 12 kids, and we have 25. So I think they got some nice kids. It's been really good. Even last year was good. And we had some older kids not come out because whatever reason. They didn't make varsity, or they didn't get a lot of playing time last year. So, like I said, I think we got the right kids out, and with the co-op, the kids have been great together and working well, and that has been a really good thing. So I'm glad we have it, because like last year or even this year, JV would be a struggle. So at least trying to build that younger program.
Well, tell us about some of the young men on your ball club this year and where they fit in.
All right. So we'll go off the line. We have some returners there. Offensive line, we have Zach Kind at center, Tony Morales at guard, Heath Jordan, at the other guard. Might be seeing some Ross Lindner at guard there. At tackle, we got Jackson Meyer and Colton Pagankoff. with Josiah Cahart maybe working in there. Really working the last couple weeks to try to find some depth and create depth. Don't have a lot of younger guys, so we are trying to create depth where we're moving guys around. If a center goes down, we're moving a tackle possibly over there and bringing in another tackle. So things like that. Kane Tolfire at one end and Rory Hansen at the other end. Backs, we have Reed Stiglitz, Colton Sandelier, and then it's kind of we have a interchangeable with Jerome Buchanan, Isaac Zabel, and Kautzer, Adam Kautzer. So those kind of will do some rotation. Mainly Colton Sandelier will be our fullback, and then the other A-backs will kind of rotate with that. And Jake Lindner will be our quarterback to start. So excited for them. Like I said, we got work to do. We have a really tough opponent coming up this week already, so which would match, I think, our conference schedule anyway. So offensively, very similar to what we did last year, kind of a hybrid wing tee, flex bone, maybe throwing the ball a little bit more, trying to open it up, and so they don't have to put 11 in a box every play. So doing some things that way. Defensively, you good?
Yeah.
All right. Defensively, we'll go tackles. We run a 4-2-5. Jackson Meyer and Zach Kinn will start off at tackles with Cahart and Pagankoff coming in as a rotation. At D end, we have Tofar and Tony Morales and Jake Luchterhand. Ross Lindner might see a little action there also. Outside linebackers. The linebackers were a little bit thin. We have Rory Hansen and Adam Kautzer. Inside we have Jake Lindner and Sandelier. So in our DBs are Stiglitz, Zabel, and then we kind of have a couple of different things where we have Buchanan and Landini have been kind of working, trading off in there. So with maybe a little bit of Brady Rakovic also, who's a sophomore. That kind of goes with what we have offensive and defensively. Like I said, we are working things around, so we create depth within the players that we have. We have a handful that are on the sidelines that are ready, and a couple of them are freshmen, like Ross Lindner is really close to being ready to at least see some action at the varsity level. And I think there's a couple others. Dominic Morales is close, and so just to add that depth to our team. So I believe staying healthy is going to be, just like any other year, going to be important, because you can't reach down and grab a junior or a senior anymore. You're reaching down into a sophomore or a freshman. So that is one thing that we really make sure that we are able to do, or try to do.
Yeah, Coach, the last few years that you operated on your own in football, without the co-op, like virtually all other small schools, you were a bit strapped for numbers, in the 30s, maybe upper 20s, 30s. Now with the co-op, you look around and you've got some depth. You've got some guys on the sidelines next to you who can help you in situations. What's that been like for you, an improved situation for you and your staff to have some of that depth and moving people around like you can do?
I think it's been important for the program where you are playing more of the athletes at a proper level. And I think that was the case last year where we had some kids both from Loyal and Greenwood that maybe played JV, and maybe the year before they played a lot of varsity or started. And whether that was a sour taste in their mouth or what, we played them at the level that was good for them, that they earned. And I think that was a good thing because we had kids that depth-wise, and you could pull a couple special teams, things like that. This year we're a little bit slim on numbers, but I think that combination is vitally important, because I remember years ago where we sat at 22, 23 kids and ran a JV schedule, and some of those sophomores were playing twice a week or some, and that's a lot for a young kid. So it has helped out definitely on trying to help build the program and develop those younger players at that JV level.
Larry, how about some questions or comments you have for Coach Lindner?
You mentioned the scrimmage you had, quote-unquote scrimmage. It rained, so only you and Neilsville Granton were able to compete in it. What about the lack of that scrimmage? How is that going to affect going into this first game of the season now?
I'm happy that we got to do something.
Yeah.
The lack of it is I think it's important because you don't have film. You know what I mean? You have a little bit of film, but you don't have things that we can really work off of. Obviously, we do film practice and things like that. That's not the same. But as much as it stinks, I think it was important that we at least got something in 40 plays offense, defensively with Neilsville. And I think it was also very important that our JV got 20 plays. A lot of those young kids don't realize, you get to the scrimmage. Those first 2 weeks are long and hard, and you need to get to that scrimmage to kind of reap the benefits of what that hard work was for those 2 weeks. And I'm glad they got to do that, because it would be another week before they got to play a JV game. So just to satisfy their taste a little bit of some action. So I think that was important. So it is what it is. We know what we're up against in Abbey this week. Very tough opponent. So it isn't like we haven't played them for umpteen years. So we kind of know each other, or know each other, and we'll go after it and see what we can do.
What kind of keys are you looking for to be successful again in this early part of the season?
Aggressive defense. And so with Angularia and Fontes, they are very good, quick, and tough backs, defensively and offensively. So those are things that we need to take a look at, and I don't know if you shut them down, if you can slow them down maybe a little bit, and maybe keep them inside. That'll be our goal. But they got a nice line, and with those two, we've struggled with them for a lot of years, just because Jake does a really nice job with that offense, and gets his kids to play. So I think just doing our job, relying on our skills, is going to be important, and doing what we're supposed to do.
What about the coaching staff? I know I asked Coach Gorst about the co-op with Spencer and Columbus. You're with Loyal and Greenwood. How has that been going with those two schools as far as the coaching staff goes?
I think really good. On our staff, we have, I believe the majority are Loyal Greenwood guys. So I think a number of us were coached by Coach Lenz, and so you have Dean and I as co-head coaches, both from Greenwood. Cody Halpin played for me way back when. Josh Nemi so Cody's our O coordinator. Josh is our D coordinator. Played at Owen under Coach Lowby. Mm-hmm. Travis Kind, Aaron Greisen. Travis from Greenwood, lives in Loyal. Aaron's from Greenwood, and we got Kyle Damask, who is from Point and brings a lot of good knowledge from Spash and Coach McAdams from back then when he played for him. So I think I think it was a learning curve last year, and I think we've done a better job. Are we perfect? No, we're still adjusting and still working on making sure people are coaching every spot that they can, and we're not, for example, standing around and talking. So just making sure that we are getting the most out of our kids by all of us as coaches. So I think it's been a good nucleus and a good crew.
Good.
So,
Gene?
All right, Larry, thank you. And once again, the loyal Greenwood football team opens its schedule Friday night at Abbotsford. Coach, good luck in that ball game and throughout the season.
thank you.
Loyal Greenwood football coach Chris Lindner joining us on our football coaches program tonight from Nuts Deep 2 in